going on, everybody, and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing Facebook or Meta making a decision to cut back on their fact checking. We got world leaders attack Musk for free speech. So let's listen to it, react to it, get right into it.
With that, let's bring in Babylon Bee CEO and my childhood friend from church. That's a real story. Seth Dillon. Seth, it's great to see you.
Great to see you, Guy.
All right, let's start with this, just broad strokes. Your reaction to what we heard from Mark Zuckerberg today, really significant.
It is. I mean, on the one hand, we're celebrating because, you know, we've been fighting the battle for free speech for a long time. The fact-checking was something that literally almost killed the Babylon Bee. We were getting fact-checked so relentlessly. So many of our jokes were getting rated false. You know, silly jokes like CNN purchases industrial-sized washing machine to spin the news in before publishing it, or, you know, AOC goes on The Price is Right and guesses everything is free. These, like, silly jokes are getting rated false, and the media was characterizing us as traffickers in misinformation under the guise of satire. Those are the exact words from a New York Times report. And so, you know, we were facing this situation where we were being threatened with demonetization and deplatforming because we were spreading fake news. But that's literally what satire is, right? Fake news. So our business was threatened by fact-checking for years, and we've been fighting that fight for a long time. So it's great to see him reversing course on that.
Seth, and this is my opinion, and you can agree with it or not, but looking at Mark Zuckerberg, I'm glass half empty on this. This would not be happening, and these words would not be coming out of this guy's mouth
if it wasn't for Trump.
President Trump had not won the White House again.
Amen. I am so glad that this lady is speaking up on that. My thoughts exactly. Look at the old frizzy head Mark Zuckerberg there. Sorry, I'm going to talk a little crap about him, but I don't trust him. I think that all the fact checking and all that was totally Facebook, Meta, whatever you're going to call it's doing. Mark Zuckerberg is so full of baloney. He just knows that Trump is going to be the new president, and he's got to play ball.
Because everybody, I talked to somebody in tech earlier today who said, oh, he's a lifelong libertarian. And I said, okay, well, how come just a few weeks ago that Instagram and Facebook were penalizing and demonetizing people for standing up for biological women in sport? This is just baked potatoes. How long does it last?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure how much it matters what the motivation is, as long as the result is more speech in the public square. And, you know, they were feeling a lot of government pressure before through the back door. Thankfully, that pressure is being removed now. You know, Trump isn't going to be pressuring him the same way. His administration isn't going to pressure him the same way.
The thing of it is no, Trump's not going to pressure him to censor people, but this guy, I don't know what he's doing. This guy that they're talking to, the Babylon, he just seems to think that everything's just, oh, since Zuckerberg said that, everything's hunky-dory, that no censorship will ever be done. I hope not. I surely hope that they stop with the fact-checking on. I mean, if you want to fact-check something, go fact-check it yourself. Go look it up. Go see for yourself, man. Do a little bit of work. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, man. I don't trust Zuckerberg.
Seems relieved by that. Is it genuine? I'm not sure. I don't know his motivations. No. I don't know what he's actually thinking. All I can go by is what he said publicly, and what he said publicly is a very good thing that should be applauded, and he should be encouraged, and he should feel good about the fact that he's going to have a lot of people now on his side and in his corner because he's taking a strong stand for free expression. You know, the only downside for us is that it was actually extremely entertaining when our jokes were getting fact-checked. It was a lot of fun. We're actually about to publish a thread where we showcase some of the funniest fact-checks that ever happened. But so on the one hand, it's like,
make some use out of it.
More free speech, but on the other hand, we lose that the comedy that comes with jokes getting rated false.
You know, Seth, I would encourage people, as soon as the bottom line is over, to go and look up the full statement and the full video that Zuckerberg put out. I think there was a lot of good stuff going point by point on the substance of the changes that they're making, a lot of which I think are really positive and overdue. But something that you just referenced there, one of the more striking things that Zuckerberg said was he talked about working with President Trump moving forward to defend free speech, and then basically directly called out the Biden-Harris administration for being pro-censorship for the last 4 years. He didn't really sort
Gotta
of
blame
beat around
somebody.
the bush on that. He just said it.
Yeah, and he's said it before. He's mentioned, I think he put out like a memo or something. It was probably about a year ago, wasn't it? I don't know. It was a little while ago. I'm not very good with my memory on the timeline of things. But he had put out a statement before talking about the pressure that they felt. And he apologized for acquiescing to some of that pressure, giving into it, caving, and actually doing the government's bidding. And of course, as we all know, it's unconstitutional for the government to do something through a third party to outsource censorship that would be
Biden administration
if they did it themselves.
does what they want.
They can't do that. So it's good that he sees a problem with that and that he's acknowledging that he's calling that out.
And it's worth noting that the Supreme Court, midway through last year, punted on that case related to censorship via surrogate. And there was a grave concern going into the election that would allow the Democrats to force these social media companies to censor political speech. And it was the censorship of your account on the former Twitter, making a joke about Rachel Levine that led to Elon Musk buying what is now X. So praise be on that, Seth.
Yeah, and that was the gender policy. They baked their radical ideology into the terms of service so that if you disagree with it, just simply expressing a viewpoint on the issue that they don't like, referring to a male person as a man was considered an enforceable policy violation. That's a major speech problem, and it's great that they're getting away from that. I actually don't mind the community notes that they're going to be moving to because that's more speech as an answer to speech that you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
And it's better than, I think, a lot of these so-called fact checkers who put their thumb on the scale.
Fact checkers.
Community notes not perfect, but better than PolitiFact, for example, at least as I see it.
Yeah.
Seth Dillon, it's so good to see you.
Yes, I don't know what you think, what your thoughts is about it, but I think Mark Zuckerberg is probably just full of crap, if you ask me. I think he's just telling people what they want to hear. Maybe we'll see some changes, maybe we won't. I'm sure we will, because we're going to have a new president, so he may straighten that up. But yeah, and as far as X, Twitter goes, I've never had anything to do with X or Twitter. I was just never interested at all in that platform.
Look who's here, economist and Trend Macro Chief Investment Officer Don Luskin. Don, you're sophisticated. You've been around the world. What do you make of this new fight?
All I can say is, you're over the target when they start shooting the flak at you. For the president of France to say that Elon Musk is interfering directly in elections because he is speaking his opinion is just ridiculous. It's a terrible distortion of the French language. It's not interference to speak. It's exercising your right to free speech. And the leaders of Europe who are attacking Musk for free speech are, by doing so, proving his point.
Yeah.
His point is that they are tyrannical leaders who are taking away people's free speech. And they're trying to take away his.
The president of France got a problem saying that Musk is interfering in the elections, and man, what in the world is going on, man?
In plain sight. They're not even ashamed of it. They're just hoping you won't notice the breathtaking hypocrisy.
Don, the world is responding to Trump. I mean, Canada just rejected Liberal Prime Minister Trudeau. Trudeau just resigned after Trump's tariff threats. Ukraine, Zelensky, he's embracing Trump. And Musk is going after England's far-left Prime Minister. He's been accused of going easily on Muslim men accused of mass rapes when he was a prosecutor. When it comes to the far left, complaints about Elon Musk, it's like choose your billionaire, pick your poison time, because they're silent about far-left billionaire George Soros funding far-left politicians and defund police DAs. And, George Soros is beloved in Europe.
Right, of course. This is what it means to be a totalitarian. You get to decide who has free speech. And what a coincidence. The people who get free speech are the people who agree with you.
Yep.
The people who don't are the people who disagree with you. Now, it's not that they don't love Elon Musk and X and all the other social media platforms. They love to tax them. They don't like to let the free speech happen there.
And make that money off of
They
it.
don't like Elon Musk, something like 211 million followers, however many he has around the world.
or 11 million followers.
It is really quite amazing. And, here we have the president of France who can barely hold on to power. Musk just stands there, and he gets more powerful every day.
Oh, wow.
That's the whole world voting. The world is voting that Elon Musk is worthy.
Don
and that
Musk,
Emmanuel
thank you
Macron
so much.
I cut him slap off. Guys, I have to be absolutely perfectly honest with you. I think, of course, Elon Musk is a very smart guy, but I don't know, man. Something strange about him. I just can't put my finger on it. I'm not sure. I have no proof of nothing. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I don't know. Something is just weird about the guy. I don't know what it is. Maybe one day it will reveal itself.
Welcome back. President-elect Donald Trump meeting with Republican senators today in Washington to discuss their reconciliation strategy. Trump still keeping his options open on the best way to implement his agenda. Watch.
Well, I like one big, beautiful bill, and I always have, I always will.
Big, beautiful bill.
Two is more certain. It does go a little bit quicker because you can do the immigration stuff early. I'm okay with spending. I just don't want to see a default. That's all I want. I never talked about spending more money necessarily than all I want to see is no default. But debt ceiling is not about raising a lot of money. It's really just about extending it. I just want to see an extension.
There you go.
With a razor-thin margin, lawmakers have told me that they are trying to appease certain lawmakers to get on board and agree to the border money as well as energy permitting and not give up if the SALT tax increase is not there. Politico reporting that the incoming Trump administration officials are planning to offer expanded state and local tax deductions at Mar-a-Lago meetings this weekend in exchange for those SALT Republicans to fall in line behind Trump's policy agenda, including a sweeping tax bill likely coming later this year. Joining me now is Georgia Congressman Austin Scott, a member of the House Intelligence, Armed Services, and Rules and Agricultural Committees. Congressman, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
You too, Maria.
Where do you stand on this debate of one major bill or two? And do you think you're going to be able to rally your New York and California lawmakers into agreeing to all the other things if, in fact, they don't get their way on the SALT deduction?
Well, I think so. I think they'll get some expansion of their deduction, and the president's going to meet with them this weekend. Several of us are going to be down there to have discussions over how we move forward. I think that, the concept of one big piece of legislation, and, remember, we get two bullets, so why wouldn't you take the big bullet first and get everything you can, and then let's do a cleanup bill later on in the year as we can. But we don't need to leave major things undone in that first piece of legislation, especially the tax law. Remember, Maria, the tax law is the only thing that he can't do anything about with executive order. So, border security, energy, all of those other things, he's going to get some of that with executive order. It's the tax law that if that law expires at the end of, 25, then candidly would probably send this country into a huge recession.
Oh, yeah.
Massive tax increases that come if we don't extend those Trump tax cuts.
Well, Jason Smith
got to get those tax cuts.
In saying the tax extensions need to be done early in the year.
Amen.
Told us you need to have that signed into law by July 4th. Otherwise, it's going to impact the midterm elections, and you guys will be voted out. So, right now, Lindsey Graham says the best way to do it is put taxes second. Is that
Lindsey Graham? Oh my God! I don't know what they're gonna say, but Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham, he's, damn rhino is all he is.
I don't agree with Lindsey on that. I certainly respect him, but remember this: we're going to get a lot of the stuff with executive order on immigration and energy. And
had to say he respected him.
Inflation. If the tax law expires at the end of this year, 2025, then we're going to go into a major recession. And remember, Maria, as we go through all of these tough pieces of legislation, we've got a very, very slim margin in the House of Representatives. So I do think that it's best for the piece of legislation to come through the House first. That's going to be the tougher vote for us. And then, hopefully, it obviously pre-negotiated between, the Senate and the President. Yeah. Then the Senate will be able to take it up. But as a business owner, I can tell you, we need certainty in that tax law before you start pressing into the summer and the fall months of the year, because as you have that uncertainty pushing into, January of 26,
Right.
all of a sudden business owners are going to have to start making decisions based on the assumption that the law is not extended. So I think Jason Smith is right in that the tax law needs to go first. I hope that this does not become a my way or the highway for certain members of Congress,
Right.
because if it becomes that, an issue of pride over authorship or strategy, then the American citizens are going to pay a very dear price for that.
All right, so we're really at the same place we were on Sunday when I spoke with Mike Johnson and Lindsey Graham and Ron Johnson about this, and that is the House and Senate are split on how to execute Trump's agenda right now. We'll see what happens this weekend. Let me get your take on what happened yesterday. The House passed the Laken-Riley Act. 159 Democrats voted against this bill. It
159
required
Democrats.
immigration authorities to detain illegal migrants or immigrants arrested for theft and allow states to sue the Department of Homeland Security for crimes committed by illegal migrants. This bill, after Georgia nursing student Laken-Riley was murdered by an illegal while jogging on the University of Georgia's campus. Pennsylvania Democrat Senator John Fetterman co-sponsored the Senate version of the bill. Even he called out his fellow Democrats for not backing it. Watch this.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, we got Fetterman. I don't know what's going on with Fetterman. How many of y'all think that Fetterman's going to end up going Republican before it's over with? Fetterman, the guy that I never even thought that could take seriously. When I saw the guy, I was just like, there is no way. But, yeah, that's, I don't know how well of a job he's doing. But, yeah, he's it's definitely more to the guy, I guess, than what any of us probably thought.
Though it shouldn't be controversial to have a secure border, and the numbers are out of control.
Yes.
We can be pro-immigration, but we need a secure border, and here we are now. When you have hundreds of thousands of people in our nation here illegally with criminal records, and some actively engaging in crime,
Yes.
well, then they all have to go, and I'm not sure why that would be controversial to anybody.
What do you say
Smart.
about this, that 159 Democrats voted against this bill, Congressman?
Well, first of all, my heart goes out to her family. I don't understand what they have done for the last 4 years, the Democrats to our country. I have I-75 that goes through the heart of my district. We have calls from judges on a regular basis talking about people that they've caught that they want to detain and turn over to ICE. But because the previous administration, or the current administration still, Joe Biden would not put detainers on those criminal illegal immigrants, that they had to turn them back out on the street. And so I don't understand how anybody could be opposed to the piece of legislation that we passed yesterday. I think it will be passed in the Senate. I think Senator Fetterman is exactly right. But there's a faction of that Democratic Party
268
that in primaries,
26.
Some people that are pretty normal up here are scared of because of what they'll do to them in the next Democratic primaries, and they demand open borders. And they, Maria, you know this as well as anybody, they use the term race as an excuse to not do anything, against criminal illegal immigrants.
That's exactly true.
Look, that was quite the press conference yesterday by President Trump, talking about just this subject, this very issue that he wants to make sure to hold Mexico accountable for not stopping the illegals flowing into America. Now he's vowing to rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene already drafted legislation to make this happen. Trump pledged to acquire Greenland, the Panama Canal, and make Canada the 51st state. Congressman, some of this, I think, was a joke in terms of Canada, but...
Yeah. I don't know what you guys think about all that. That is just crazy. But I mean, say if it did happen, if the Gulf of Mexico was changed to the Gulf of America, and Canada became the 51st state, that is. Oh man, that's a little bit overwhelming even to think about. I mean, we'll be witnessing some major history, going on if that was to happen. That is absolutely. I would have never, ever thought I'd be seeing these things happening in my lifetime.
What are your thoughts on what President Trump said yesterday on the Gulf of America and Panama and Greenland?
Yeah, well, let me start with Greenland. You know, geographically, there is a certain strategic importance there that most Americans probably have not gotten a grasp of yet. It is an important region for us as a country. It's important for global security. The Russians and the Chinese are increasing their activities in that region of the world. And so Greenland, it does have strategic importance. And I think President Trump, you know, will ultimately want to get to some type of agreement with them where we have a relationship that's more mutually beneficial than the current one. Obviously, you know, when you get to the Panama Canal, we built it, we paid for it, we should have never given it away.
Sires.
I think that when you look at the transit that goes through there, it's obviously one of the more important geographical areas, again, you know, for commerce in the global trade. So he's right about looking at those issues. How we get to the resolution, I'll leave that up to the administration.
It's
as
beyond.
for the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America, you know, again, and I've spent some of my best days on that water. I don't think the name of it is as important as how we're going to handle the law enforcement in that area. There's a tremendous amount of illegal activity that occurs in that body of water, and I think that, you know, the president is intent on stopping whether it be the illegal fishing and the cartels are illegally fishing in that Gulf, or the illegal transit across the Gulf that's bringing, you know, narcotic.
If he's talking about fishing for fish, then we got more important things to worry about and be worried about than illegally fishing. We got that everywhere.
Drugs in our country. So whether it's called America, Gulf of America, or Gulf of Mexico, I care more about the enforcement mechanism in that body of water, making sure that the the illegal activity is stopped.
Yeah, and President Trump is focused on national security.
None of that illegal fishing going on.
Panama Canal, I think, because China
100%.
is using the Panama Canal. And
100%.
This is our number
100.
one adversary. Congressman, it's great to get your take on all of this. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Maria.
All right, Austin Scott is in D.C.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for our show today. We hope to see you on the next one. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give us a thumbs up, drop us a comment if you got anything that you'd like to add, say, and hit that subscribe button and come back and enjoy another episode. We'll see you on the next one.